Well, while King Charles was giving his Christmas message on the BBC, Stephen Fry was invited to give the alternate Christmas message on Channel 4. The much-loved British actor explained that he had Jewish heritage and asked his fellow Brits to exercise tolerance for each other, no matter their race or religion. Have a listen.
But whatever our opinions on what is happening, there can be no excuse for the behaviour of some of our citizens. Since October the 7th, there have been 50 separate reported incidents of anti-Semitism every single day in London alone, an increase of 1,350% according to the Metropolitan Police. So what is my message this Christmas? The simple truth that we're all brothers and sisters. It's naive, but it's as good a message as any other.
Let's bring in Spiked chief political writer Brendan O'Neill. Brendan, I would have thought that was all pretty good stuff, and yet as a result of that rather benign Christmas message, Stephen Fry has received the most vile abuse. What on earth is going on in England?
Yeah, you think no one could take offence at a message like that. You know, Stephen Fry is famously a national treasure here. He's very genteel. He's quite posh. He's loved widely across the country. And then he does this alternative Christmas message on the scourge of anti-Semitism. And the woke mob went absolutely bananas. They went crazy. They went on the internet. They called him every name under the sun, words I could never repeat on a show like this. They called him a narcissist. They said he's a genocide apologist in reference to Israel's war with Hamas. They really went for the jugular with Stephen Fry. And these are the kind of people who pose as anti-racist, who think everything is racist. If you ask someone, where are you from? Apparently that's a racial microaggression. If you say anything critical about Islam, apparently that's Islamophobia. These people see racism everywhere, except when it's staring them in the face. And there has been a severe rise in anti-Semitism in Britain over the past 10 weeks. And these people just don't want to know. They say they care about racism, but when it comes to anti-Jewish racism, they either turn away or they actually justify it as a form of opposition to Israel.
Yeah, well, it seems like the only form of racism that is permitted, and racism is terrible, but when it comes to anti-Semitism, somehow everybody just shrugs their shoulders and lets that go. But how is it that he can just simply warn people that anti-Semitism is not a great thing, and yet for his reward receive abuse? Doesn't that prove his point, that anti-Semitism is rife? You can't even warn against it.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? You know, I think since Hamas's pogrom of the 7th of October, we've witnessed something really striking in the West, I think, which is the complete collapse of the moral authority of the woke left and the woke elites. You know, these are the kind of people who for years have posed as caring and loving and wonderful people who just want equality and just want everyone to be treated fairly and nicely. We now know, courtesy of the barbarism of 7th of October, what a myth that was, because they have made excuses for the pogrom of the 7th of October. They've said it was a form of resistance. There's one journalist here in Britain who called it a day of celebration. And since then, they have turned a blind eye to soaring levels of anti-Semitism in Britain and other countries in Europe as well. Here in the UK, there have been 50 anti-Semitic attacks a day in London alone. That is crisis-level racism, and they've turned a blind eye to that as well. And then when Stephen Fry tried to raise the alarm bells about it, they made fun of him on the internet and they denounced him. So the kind of people who've posed as our moral superiors for the past few decades have been exposed as real lowlifes, I think, who don't actually care about racism, don't care about equality, certainly don't care about Jewish people, and are only interested in using so-called anti-racism as a way of fortifying their own cultural power over society. So they really stand exposed. And I think the fallout from the Fry video really demonstrates that even further.